All right, welcome back to Just Car Guys, the show where me and my dad talk about the latest and greatest car news and car stories from the last week.
As a reminder, I haven't seen any of what Anthony's about to share with y'all, so it'll be the first time seeing it as well. Looking forward to seeing what you've got to share today.
Oh, yeah, and with this week, it's been an interesting one. As you know, Monterey Car Week is going on, so there's been some pretty awesome reveals. First up here, something not so awesome. The Tesla Cybertruck is delayed yet again. Production was originally scheduled for the end of this year, but according to Tesla's website, it's been delayed until 2022. So with that, this is also when the Ford F-150 Lightning also begins production.
Interesting.
And the Cybertruck does boast some pretty serious potential stats, with the top model potentially being delayed till 2023, but having a tri-motor all-wheel drive setup capable of 500 plus miles of range and 0 to 60 in just 2.9 seconds. Yes.
Oh my gosh. I hope the brakes are gigantic on that.
Oh, they better
like
be.
that. It's so heavy to go that fast is dangerous.
Yeah,
it's just
sketchy.
Silly. Yeah.
Do
you think the final production version's gonna look like that?
I'm gonna say I hope not. I don't
extreme.
like it. It's not. I really dislike it.
I mean, it'd be kind of cool to see something like that rolling around, but I don't know. Yeah,
I wouldn't buy one. Let's say that. So, as you know how Toyota likes to do it, they continue to tease features and specs of the 2022 Toyota Tundra. So with that, the newest update features images of the rear suspension setup being coil springs instead of the late model's leaf spring setup. And then they also show the TRD Pro models featuring lifted suspension with Fox dampers and a red painted anti-roll bar and a front skid plate. So the Pro seems pretty sick.
They usually are pretty good. So yeah, they're
awesome.
Can't wait to see it.
Me neither.
Teasers are working,
dude. It really is.
Yeah.
I love the way Toyota has been kind of teasing this. Every like couple weeks, they're like, "Here's a couple more pictures. Check this out." So we will continue to update you about the Tundra as it makes its full debut within the coming months. Now here, the 2022 Nissan Frontier is coming in September and will begin at just $29,015. Without getting too far into every detail, the cheapest version of the Frontier is the S-King cab rear-wheel drive, and then the four-wheel drive, you will have to fork over some extra cash as it is an additional $3,200. So with that, the top of the line is the off-road Focus Pro 4X, which starts at $38,415. Now, this does make the Nissan more expensive when compared to competitors like the Chevy Colorado, Ford Ranger, and Toyota Tacoma, which range from $26,015 to $27,615.
Interesting. I do like what they've done with the styling.
Me too.
It's been a while since they've had a refresh, and I'm curious what they've done with the interior, honestly, because, in the previous models, I had it was a fairly new Frontier rental not too long ago.
Oh, really?
And I could not believe how dated dated the interior was. I mean, it was holding up fine, but it looked like it was the same interior they've had for maybe a decade or two. Like it was unbelievable. Well, it is a truck. I wouldn't say the Nissan Frontier is known as a luxury truck, right?
Yeah.
So, do you need to really refresh those things? I don't know, but it's kind of nice.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they've done a nice job with the exterior styling on this thing.
I think it looks significantly better than the last one did. I mean, same even with that Tundra. Like, they're finally updating some of these really old models.
Like the Z.
The one that's been around forever. This is interesting.
Okay.
The new Audi Skysphere concept is literally a transformer.
Okay.
So, with the push of a button and the assistance of electric motors, the entire front end can extend or retract, turning from an autonomous long wheelbase Grand Tour to a whole 9.8 inch shorter, 0.4 inch lower driver focus roadster.
Really?
Isn't that wild?
That is so fascinating.
So it's like, do you see that little diamond pattern? Yeah. So it's that entire
right
front
underneath
clip.
the A-pillar, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That entire front clip just moves backwards.
Okay. So it shortens the wheelbase, makes it more nimble instead of a highway cruiser, and then it's a Very interesting concept. I wonder how rigid it is. You know, moving
that's
parts like that. I wonder how it handles, but I mean, it looks low and sleek. Like you shorten the wheelbase on that thing, and
it's pretty crazy.
I bet it's peppy in the corner. That is cool.
So
what an interesting concept.
And it kind of covers what we were talking about before, though, with just the idea of autonomous driving, where like I am perfectly all right with it in cities and in traffic and stuff like that, but you can have it drive you and be comfortable and luxurious, and then with the push of a button, once you get to the canyon, change it over to a driver-focused roadster.
That is it's a really interesting idea. I'd love to see how that plays out.
Yeah,
and really like ride or drive in one. Like just
really
that'd
be
the
awesome.
Difference.
So with that, the interior puts on a show as well with the steering. Well, here's the back end of it. I mean, the looks are out there. I'm not the biggest fan of the way it looks.
It's pretty extreme. I like the side and the front. The back, it might take a while to grow on me a little, but I do kind of like the way that the Audi logo is lit up.
Yeah.
You know, that
I love that because they did that on that A6 EV concept they had too. I love what they're doing with that. So with that, the interior puts on a show as well, with the steering wheel and pedals coming out of the bulkhead and the passenger seat moving back, the driver's section of the dash coming forward when you transform it as well. So in this shot, you'll see the screen is actually split.
Okay.
So when you change into that mode, the whole interior becomes driver focused as well. So the screen and everything comes closer to you. Passenger seat moves backwards out of the way.
Wow.
And so, but when it's in the other mode,
I can
that
see
screen
where it's
comes
at.
forward
So then
and it becomes
it's
one screen.
One large wall right there.
It's crazy.
Wow. What an interesting idea.
Yeah. It's honestly like, it's so crazy that it's cool.
For sure.
So a 623 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque electric motor powers the rear wheels, being theoretically capable of 0 to 60 in 4 seconds.
Interesting.
So Audi also plans to reveal 2 other concepts, being the Grand Sphere and the Urban Sphere, all designed with an autonomous future in mind.
Okay.
Audi out here making some crazy stuff. The Chevy Silverado EV will feature rear axle steering. So as we talked before, Chevy's developing an electric Silverado to compete with the many other EV trucks coming from Ford, Rivian, Tesla, all those guys. GM said the truck will boast 400 miles of range and now has revealed some other features, including rear axle steering, meaning a significant decrease in turning radius by slightly turning the rear wheels in the opposite direction of the front ones. So with that, this will be offered as optional equipment along with 24-inch wheels. Chevy has not released the official date of production, but it is expected to start in 2023.
I think it's interesting how long it took Chevy to put it into more vehicles. So I don't know if you know this, but they've had rear steering. GM has had it for many years. I want to say they brought it out in maybe it was the early 2000s, but
really,
or late 90s.
And they haven't messed around with it.
They had it. They offered it in the GMC Denali, and it's similar to the way the rear steering works in many cars today that have it.
Yeah.
So when you're going at highway speeds, it turns the same direction as the front wheels, so it effectively lengthens the wheelbase.
Yeah.
And they pitched it as beneficial for towing, right? Because now the whole vehicle, when it's shifting lanes, moves over, and so if you're bringing a trailer, it's a safer way to change lanes.
That makes sense.
But then in tighter situations, when you're going slower, the rear wheels turn in the opposite direction. So then it effectively shortens the wheelbase, and your turning circle, your turning radius is much smaller. So yeah, if you ever see an old Denali that has the rear bed kind of bumps out a little bit more than a traditional bed, that one had rear steering in it. So
that's so
just
cool.
For reference.
Why haven't they? What?
It's probably, I don't know if it's expensive, or maybe
it must be.
Maybe it was difficult for them for like longevity. It's a truck. You got to throw stuff in the bed. It takes a lot of weight, so that's a lot of pressure and things on the wheels. However, I mean, all the steering components and everything are sitting under an engine, in a regular car, so or a truck. I mean, so it's I don't know. I'm not sure why it hadn't carried into other models in later years, but I'm glad they're bringing it out.
Cool.
And it makes sense.
Yeah, so, I mean, just practicalities. It makes a ton of sense. So This next one, it's not like some crazy or some new, but I just think it's really cool. So to celebrate the final year of production, the 2022 Ford GT 64 Prototype Heritage Edition pays homage to the 5 original GT prototypes, mimicking the livery of the first prototype.
Yeah.
That's just it's just cool.
It's awesome.
So the car features white paint with blue accents on the hood, racing stripe over the roof, and a Ford graphic on the side. There's also a significant amount of carbon fiber with 20-inch wheels, front splitter, sills, mirror stocks, engine louvers, and rear diffuser, all being finished in that glorious carbon fiber. There are no changes to the performance characteristics, and the car will be displayed at Monterey Car Week next to the only 1964 GT prototype with its original livery.
That's cool.
That's it.
That's awesome.
It's so cool.
I feel like this photo is pretty cool, but I feel like maybe they should have had both taillights on or both off. Like,
so I looked at that too.
Yeah. Now it could be, I mean, they're LEDs, so sometimes there's a flicker effect that takes place when you take a photo, but yeah, I don't know. It just looks like maybe Ford electronics glitch or something. I don't know.
It's gonna be a $1 million
car with just one light,
one brake light working.
I don't know. Good photo, man.
That's hilarious. So next here, Aston Martin. So last week we talked about this. Aston Martin has revealed the Valkyrie Spider at Pebble Beach. So it mechanically is the same as the normal Valkyrie. That's the one on the left. The Spider's the one on the right, which comes with a 6.5 liter naturally aspirated V12, revving up to 11,500 RPM and making 987 horsepower. Also then working with a hybrid system, bringing total horsepower output to 1,139.
That is incredible. Incredible. Can you imagine the noise that comes out of that car?
It is wild.
12-cylinder, 11,000 what? How
11,500 RPM.
11,500 RPM. I mean, anything that runs over 8,500 screams. It's crazy, right? Yeah. I mean, you think about your GT3s. There's some Ferraris that are 93, 9,400 RPM, I think. That is incredible. Awesome. So now you have the brute force of the V12, you have the noise, and then you have the electric assist. Yep. It's like it's the trifecta.
So there's a clip of it running at Goodwood.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna have to check that out.
I guarantee it's like ear piercing.
Oh yeah.
But it's in such a good way. Like if I wanted
my ears are bleeding, to bleed, but they're good.
Yeah, exactly. My ears are bleeding, but I love it.
Don't care.
The top is actually just removable, as the shape of the car left no space for an actual mechanism.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
You just have to take it off and put it somewhere.
Yeah, the redesign of that had to be super challenging, because if you look at the other car, the entire roof lifts up. That's the door. So the door coming the other direction, like where the top of the door seals into the roof, I don't know. That's
it's interesting.
Really interesting.
So Aston says the car will be able to achieve a top speed of more than 217 miles per hour with the roof on and 205 miles per hour without it.
Yeah.
200 miles per hour with the roof off. All 85 examples of this incredible car have already been purchased and allocated despite the incredibly high expected price tag. It's rumored to be around $3.5 million.
Wow.
Pretty awesome. So, just more cool stuff. It's been such a cool week. Revisiting from last week, Acura has revealed the 2022 Acura NSX Type S, and I can't find anything wrong with it. It's perfect. I love it. So this incredible car gets a 27 horsepower increase for an even 600 horsepower being pushed out of the twin turbo 3.5 liter V6 and 3 electric motors. So and the redesign I think is perfect. Like they just made it that much more extreme, because the other one had like a smoother front end.
They gave an edge to it, but Yeah, it brings it to another level.
So good.
It's just fine-tuned, but it looks good, like from a design standpoint,
Yeah.
fine-tuned. 600 horsepower, hybrid, like electric, and plus and actually it sounds pretty. I heard a sound clip of it recently, and it sounds pretty good.
It sounds fantastic.
I think this is one of the supercar steals. I'm calling it a supercar because it is.
I think it's
a mini
supercar.
918. Same spirit, right?
Yeah.
And you have all the supercar performance, right? It's like 3 seconds, 0 to 60. This one's probably. Did you say? Is it less?
They didn't say.
At 600 horse. I mean, the other one was right at 3, I think, or 3.1.
Yeah.
So this one might be into the 2s.
I'm gonna be honest. The NSX was not on my list of desired cars before this one.
Yeah.
With this redesign, I love it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I think the redesign definitely takes it to another level. I do think, and it's unfortunate, but for me personally, I've seen them in person so much better in person than in the photos.
See this in person.
The photos, it looks good, but it doesn't look as exotic as when you see it on the road. You're like, oh wow, that thing really, they did a nice job. So, and it's an Acura, it's a Honda. Like, you've got some other positives to go with it, right?
Hopefully. So as we know, all this incredible stuff, these amazing stats, this will be the last NSX, and Acura will build 350 of these worldwide, 300 of which are for the United States. So finally, we get primary treatment,
more than our fair share.
Yeah, we get most of them instead of just all the cool cars going in Europe and stuff. Acura has also said we are exploring what the next generation of sports cars will be in the coming electrified era. These absolutely beautiful cars start at $171,495. Look at the rear end.
Yeah,
so good. So speaking of incredible news from Acura, the Integra is coming back. So Acura has announced the Integra is coming back in 2022. Alongside this teaser image, Vice President John Ikeda, I'm going to guess, said, "I'm thrilled to say the Integra is returning to the Acura lineup with the same fun-to-drive spirit and DNA of the original, fulfilling our commitment to precision-crafted performance in every way, design, performance, and overall driving experience." So Acura announced this to many journalists at Monterey Car Week with a drone show. So they had the Integra returns 2022 and then a silhouette.
What a great idea.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's excellent.
It's awesome. Again, just car debuts on car debuts. Introducing the Lamborghini Countach LPI 800-4. So after 31 years, the name is back and the car pays homage to the original 1970s design. Most of the underpinnings are shared with the Aventador and the Scion, coming with a 6.5-liter V12 and an electric motor for a total of 802 horsepower. This also features a single clutch gearbox, all-wheel drive, rear-wheel steering, and a front lift system, so standard Lamborghini things.
Yeah.
Standard. Lamborghini said the goal is to imagine how the iconic Countach of the 70s and 80s might have evolved into an elite super sports model of this decade. The exterior features many references to the original design, but the interior is much more obviously based off the Aventador. So like this top really kind of shows a much better perspective of how similar the cars are.
I love it. I love the fact that they've resurfaced the name.
It's just
and
cool.
And you can see, I would have been disappointed if they surfaced the Countach name and didn't have like a few design cues to the old car. But this one does. The way that the taillights are shaped, even the front.
The headlights.
You've got the headlights, but then also, across the front of the small little grill there, just that straight cut across, you can tell it is, in the line of a Countach. That is, how cool is that?
Awesome.
Good for them.
So,
do we have a shot of the doors open?
No.
Oh man.
I shot the interior though. So it's basically an Aventador on the inside.
Gotcha.
But
well, hopefully they do a few things to, maybe nod to the old car.
I hope so.
Okay. This shot right here would have been so cool if there was a gated shifter.
Yes.
And like just analog gauges,
but with the modern steering wheel and all that. Just
just a couple of cues of back in the day kind of thing, or and something.
For the money they're going to charge for this thing, they could have done that.
Well, what if they came out with that as like a trim package? Like a retro trim package. So you check the box for like another 10 grand and you can get like the old stuff, right?
Exactly.
Like it's not the new technology, but it costs you more, but
awesome.
It would just make it look and feel like a little more of its history.
I agree.
That'd
be sick. So Lamborghini claims a 0 to 60 time of 2.8 seconds and a top speed of 221 miles per hour.
Yeah, that's
pretty
great.
ridiculous.
And what about, that would totally just mop up the floor with the old Countach.
I bet. Oh, yeah. No, they're not even in the same realm on performance.
But still, very, very cool.
I promise this is the last crazy hypercar reveal, but Bugatti has announced they will actually build the Bolide. Do you think that's how you say it? Bolide? I don't know.
Bolide?
The Bolide will be an insane 1,578 horsepower quad turbocharged W16 powered track beast. Just look at that thing.
That thing is awesome.
It's insane.
They're gonna build it, but it's track focused. Is this gonna be one of those like the?
Well, it's like the FSX.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't drive it on the road.
Yeah, you have to pay to store it somewhere or have it shipped or whatever, so that you can run it on the track. That's still awesome. Cool. It's awesome that they're putting it together and building it. What's in the background?
Chiron.
Interesting.
So as you can see, the insanity doesn't stop there. The car features tons of extreme aerodynamics and is built on a carbon fiber monocoque. On the rear end, you can see a huge rear wing with 4 exhaust pipes and some awesome huge Venturi tunnels partnered with a large rear diffuser.
That thing's insane.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's so cool. So they will produce no more than 40 of these, and they will cost about $4.8 million.
Wow.
Look at this shot.
That's pretty cool.
It's awesome.
How about the colors they're using?
They're fantastic.
Yeah, they really are. Even the green, a lot.
That is a nice green.
People don't do much with green, really. But especially with the carbon fiber, throughout and all that, just showing through. That looks great.
So good. Now, from all the super cool stuff, we go to something. The Ford Bronco is delayed again. So now,
I feel like I heard about this.
Every 2-door and 4-door hardtop model built so far will need to get its roof replaced. Ford will replace the roofs of Broncos that have already been delivered and built. Customers who have not gotten a build date will receive a 2022 model or can switch to a soft top model. Ford has not disclosed the exact issue, but says current owners can continue to drive their Broncos. But Car and Driver reached out to the supplier Webasto for Ford's roofs. The spokesperson said, quote, "The imperfections are microscopic and do not affect the functionality of the roof and are only exposed in heavy rain and humidity. We found it and have now put in corrective steps."
So it leaks a little bit.
That sounds about right.
Interesting. It's got to be a little more than that.
Okay.
For them to
replace
redo all
every
of that.
single roof.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they get their everybody gets their roofs fixed.
Yeah, exactly.
Or just go with the soft top. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So with that is it for today's episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check us out on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at AnthonyCIFAL. With that, you have an excellent rest of your week.
Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace out.